Well, good morning, good afternoon, good night. It's Wisdom on Wednesday, and I'm Ray. I'm happy, ecstatic, glad that you chose to hang out with me on one more Wednesday, that you can actually share the content that we're producing. You can actually you can subscribe, you can tell your neighbors, you can tell your friends, you can tell your enemies about this word of wisdom that you've been embarking on over the last few months. I'm so excited that you chose to hang out with us yet again. I appreciate your feedback. I appreciate your comments. I appreciate all the things that you're doing to help us grow this channel. Now, per usual, as I was asking God to help direct me in some thoughts and how I will bring a message, something that will be beneficial, not just words, but something that will actually help us to grow as wise people in our new community that we're forming. And these are the words that came to me today. Wise people, we have to pay attention to the warning lights. Wise people, we have to pay attention to the
Warning.
warning lights. Now, I know somebody scratching their head or saying, warning lights. Well, let me take you back in time with me growing up and driving vehicles that always seem to have some type of warning going on the dashboard. You see, check engine light can mean several things. Check engine light in a small, short synopsis can mean something's going on under the hood. But when you have a check engine light, that's actually a more precise issue that will actually help you understand that you have some things going on, such as check oil, that your oil may be low, that you may be running dry. Ultimately, that will cause a greater issue. Sometimes we can have small indicators go off in our lives to give us a little bitty alarm that something bigger is looming. You see where we're going? You have to pay attention to the warning signs to let you know that things aren't going the way that you want them to go. You see, it's comfortable for us to just drive and just drive and drive and not worry about the indicators on the dash. But understand this, the engineers that put those vehicles together for us had those things in mind. Recognizing that if everything works well, we can get to the oil change place when it's time and we'll do all those things. We can change the air in the tire, we can add air, we can reduce air. And the indicators on the dash will let us know when something's off or when something's out of balance. But our great creator has also done that for us. That sometimes many of us are running hot when we're in different environments. Sometimes some of us don't have the fluids that we need. And we're continuing to run on fumes. We're continuing to run on emotion. We're continuing to run on adrenaline. And ultimately, we're burning ourselves out. In the short term, it seems like we're succeeding, but in the long term, we're actually hurting ourselves, hurting relationships, investing in the wrong spaces in the wrong places, and not doing things that'll be conducive, watch this, to long lasting. You see, if you don't add oil to your vehicle at the proper time, you're going to lose your investment. Something as small as adding a couple of quarts of oil to your engine or changing the oil will help you continue to grow forward. But if you never ever change, wise people, the things that you take in and the things that help you keep running, that means we'll just be running off of old and not having anything new in our lives that keep us fresh, that keep us loose, that keep us lubricated. And you know what happens when an engine no longer gets lubrication? It locks up. And some of us have been in a space where we've been locked up because we're too focused on our past failures. We've been too focused on what other people think about us. We've been too focused on our future goals that tomorrow's not even promised to us, but we're locked up because we're not adding the proper nutrients for today. We're not adding the proper lubrication for today. The type of information that will help our thoughts be more lucid, the type of friend circle that will help us think about things greater than ourselves, the type of skills that will help us grow in the areas to continue to make this machine run optimal. You see where we're going? We have to pay attention even to something so small as the tire pressures in our vehicles. I learned as a young man, unfortunately, with aluminum wheels, that in Michigan, when it snows and you put those aluminum wheels up against the up against the curb, sometimes you can knock some of the air pressure out of your vehicle, and it will give a false reading if I park too close to the curb. And sometimes I can give a false reading that I don't have enough pressure to sustain my vehicle for me to ride in balance. And at times, family, we can be puffed up on past success. We can park too close to somebody else's curb. We can park too close to somebody else's failure. And we can think that that's an actual reading of our lives. We can actually be too close to somebody else's situation and their emergency has become ours. We don't even have a flat tire. We're just reading the wrong signals. And sometimes when you read the wrong signals, the signals can make you think you're doing better than you actually are, or you can actually read the signals incorrectly and be far worse than you actually are. That's why we have to pay attention to the signs, pay attention to the signals, pay attention to the light that knows we are running on empty. Unfortunately, many of us who drove old vehicles, the gas gauges didn't work properly all the time. And we knew how far we could go on that last quarter of a tank of gas, not by just being bright, not by making the right guesstimation, but by running out of gas. And that's one of the best lessons that I've ever learned. If I'm not sure of how much gas I have in the tank, I have to make certain that I rest when I know it's time for me to rest, to make certain I have enough inside to get to my destination. How many of us are running on empty, hoping that we get to our destination? How many of us are running not knowing how much we have left in the tank, but yet we keep on going? So you see, the podcasters will tell you to stay up all night and keep following your dreams. But God told us to rest, that we have to make certain that we have enough to do what we've been called to do. We have to make certain that we have what we need to make it to our destination. Having a head full of dreams and a tank full of nothing means you're not going anyplace. That you have a destination, but you don't have the gas to get there. What's it going to take for you to rest, evaluate where you're trying to go, get the things that you need to get to where you're trying to go, and make a conscious decision? Before you take a road trip, every dad will always say the same thing. Before the kids get in the car, make sure everybody goes to the bathroom. Does he care about our bladder? Absolutely not. He does not care about your bladder. But that father has a destination. He wants to get somewhere in the time that he's already allotted in his mind. And he knows that he's calculated every bathroom break is going to turn from 5 minutes into 30 minutes. And that's ultimately going to set me off course. So wise friends, how many breaks are you taking that you haven't calculated? What's taking you so long to get to your journey? Have you planned your breaks? Or do you take bathroom breaks sporadically and just hope for the best? If you follow the gauges and you make sure you have enough gas, if you follow the gauges and make certain that you're going in the right direction, you see many people see that compass on their vehicle and they just look at it and just hope for the best. But when you follow the compass in your vehicle, you'll know that you're going in the right direction. And this part is the most exciting for me because I've gone in the wrong direction for a very long time, friends. Not following the right gauges, not following the lights on the dash. I'm following my own direction and I end up going farther backwards than I'm supposed to go because I'm not asking for directions. I felt like I could figure it out. I felt like I can keep going until I found my way. But one day I chose this decision. I was running late for an interview. And if anybody knows me, I was completely irritated because I pride myself on being early. I was too late to figure it out. I was too late to try to work it out. So I had to pull over and ask for directions. And that day, when I asked for directions, I felt the most at ease. That day, I asked for directions. I felt the most confident. Not confident in myself, but confident in knowing I was going the right way. Because I didn't choose to follow my own coordinates. I chose to pull over, ask somebody who had already been the direction that I'm trying to go. And now I don't have to figure it out. Now I can ask somebody that can tell me, yeah, you took a wrong turn back there. But if you go this way and then you go this way and you make a right and 3 lefts, you'll be exactly where you're supposed to go. Family, why is it so hard for us to pull over and ask for directions? If we understand that we're going the wrong way, if every indicator on our dash has told us that we're going the wrong way, why will we continue to go the wrong way? If you were able to figure it out, you wouldn't be going in the wrong direction. Sometimes the best counsel that you can receive is asking someone who's already gone the way that you're trying to go. That's one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life, to recognize and humbly submit that I don't know it all, to humbly submit that just because I have all the gauges on my dash, just because my dashboard is lit up, just because I have gas in the tank, my oil is full, the tires are on 36 pressure, just because I have all the tools don't mean I know the right way to go. Sometimes the best thing you can do is to present what you have available to somebody who's already driven the route that you're trying to go and ask a question. Am I on the right track? Have you ever driven this way before? What was it like for you to be lost? Some of the best advice I've ever received is not from people who win all the time, but some of the best advice I've ever received are people who've had some losses under their belt. Some people who trusted God when it seemed like everything was falling apart. Some people who made some very poor choices and they could have lost their families, but they chose to trust God and God allowed their family to remain. That's one of the worst decisions they possibly made, whatever it may be. But that poor decision was the springboard for them to start trusting and asking for the proper direction. So today, my ask of you is to follow the signs, follow the gauges on your dash, pay attention to the levels in your life, pay attention to those blinking lights in your life, pay attention. You're not lost for a reason. You only may be lost for a season. That's my word for today, for Wisdom on Wednesday. I pray it was a blessing for you, and I hope you have a wonderful day and a glorious week.